Hey guys, Muncheez here, and welcome to another solo leveling rise video. And in this video, I'm going to be going over some tips and how to do the Vulcan fight on the 50th floor of the Brilliant Workshop. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is work on your Sungjinu. So if you can get him a new set, go for it, and I'll kind of get more into depth with his skills and stuff later. But basically, if you have a water weapon, even if you have two water weapons and you've been going throughout the game with them, I highly recommend using that. But if you were like me and you had to build a water weapon later, just getting Grimoire or something else, maybe the gun to 80, I think it's called like Scotty or something like that, that works as well. It doesn't have to be like at 100 yet. But for the most part, just have a decent set on him to where his power is pretty decent and he can deal a good amount of damage. So at the time of me making this video, Maylin Fisher is still on the rate up draw banner. If you do not have her yet, I highly recommend grabbing her because she is one of the only characters next to Huang Dongsu where if you use the support skill, it removes the shield off of the boss entirely. So it is very helpful to have for the Vulcan fight. Now, as far as other characters go, we are getting a free copy of Sajiu this time, so she is going to be available, so make sure you grab her from the event that's currently out right now. And besides her, the third slot, you can either just run Nam, or if you have an Alicia, run an Alicia, but for the most part, Nam is a perfect slot in there, and she's fairly easy to get. Their sets shouldn't matter too much. I'm currently running the old gear sets on them. So just make sure they're kind of like maxed out so you have the adequate amount of power when you're fighting him. Now, this is just a personal preference thing. So Sungjinu, when you're setting him up, make sure you have two skills on him that you can use that are water break. So make sure they have a rune that makes their element water and that they deal a decent amount of break damage. And I chose to run a Plum Sword and a Thetis. So if you don't have the Grimoire, I'm pretty sure you could run double shadow weapons or something along those lines. But if you do not have a Grimoire, I kind of highly recommend it. It does a lot of damage. I wish I had more resources to test out more weapons, so I am currently not aware of many substitutes. But if you do have a water weapon substitute, I'm sure that would be highly acceptable as well. Maybe a Scotty or something of that sort. But for the most part, my Sungjinu is just wearing 4-piece of the new set and then 4-piece accessories of the old set, and I'm able to do the fight just fine. So when we get in, the first thing I will mention is you want to keep your Shadow Step armor debuff up as much as possible. A lot of his moves are very easy to dodge, so he'll always lead with this ability where he slams the ground 3 times and has like the alternating crosses. So when he does this, you can tank some of the hits, but don't tank too much of it because it does do a lot of damage. Just start breaking him immediately when you get in, and immediately after that he'll start charging. So he starts off with these first 2 moves all the time. Now just prioritize breaking and don't worry too much about trying to save your skills. Just dump them into him at the first part because he will waste time with the phases when he starts entering different phases of the fight. So just get him as low as you can as quick as possible. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is that there are the blessings. Now, these are the blessings that I had. The only one in this list that I would highly recommend trying to get is the ultimate skill damage increase because it does give you a very large DPS boost. Everything else where it like decreases the monster's defense or anything of that nature or ups your damage or anything like that, besides the one that's like just your basic attack damage, like I have one of them on the bottom left where it's just my basic attack and my core damage. If you get like 1 or 2 that aren't that favorable, it's not too big of a deal, just as long as you have a decent amount of ones that contribute a lot to your DPS in there. So for example, in mine, I have increases the monster's damage taken, the ultimate skill, so I have like 5 pretty decent ones in here, so you want it to look like that. But if you do get like a couple of iffy ones here and there and you still can't do it and say you missed it by like 1 or 2 seconds like consistently, try and go back, farm some more so you can get a little bit more damage so you can just finish him off. Now, after you break the shield, he will start taking a lot of damage, so keep an eye out on his health. He phases and does certain things at 100 bars of health. I want to say like 60 to 70 bars, and as well as 50, and I believe the last one is sub 20 bars of health, and I'll point them out as we're going along. But the first one he's going to do is the 100 bar one, where he will turn into a giant version of himself, and he will do the very first mechanic. The next thing I want to mention is when he starts approaching 100 bars or 50 bars of health, make sure you do not use your shadows. Or any other move for that fact that has like a long cooldown on it, just keep it. So as you can see, we can't target him, and he'll summon these meteors. Now the camera is really rough here, so he has a set of meteors that you have to dodge twice. So the best thing that I can tell you is when you see these meteors enter your frame, you need to smack the dodge button and then use this until you get comfortable with the timing, so you can just kind of feel it out. But as soon as you see that meteor in your frame, just spam your dodge button, and you want to do 2 dodges so you can get 2 extreme evasions off. And once you've dodged both of these sets of meteors, you're going to have to make your way to a safe zone. Now, these safe zones never change, and they're in the same spot both times, but you can see the highlight on the ground. He'll smack the ground, everything will break. And when he comes up here, the first time he comes back, he's untargetable. So the next tip is to make sure you don't dump abilities into him when he's not targetable. So this is the first time where he comes back out and lands, and he is not targetable, so do not dump your abilities as soon as he lands here on the first time. Now, the next one is going to be when he jumps to the middle of the map. He will become kind of like untargetable again. So this is happening around 70 to 60 bars of health. I don't know the exact number, but it happens roughly within that range of HP. Now, when he gets close to here, this is where you have to be wary if he's going to jump or not, because when he jumps, he becomes untargetable again. You cannot hit him, so get what you can out to drop him into this range of HP between 60 and 70. And he'll jump to the middle, and you can hit him a little bit when he's in the middle, but it's not really worth it unless you really need to hit him. He'll summon these rocks, and he'll charge towards it. Just lead him into one of these glowing gold rocks. It'll stun him, and it'll give you another big DPS window. Now, after this, there's one more mechanic where he will turn big again, and he'll do the meteor thing again. And it's literally the exact same thing as the first one at 100 bars, except this time when he lands out of it, you will be able to target him pretty close to immediately, but not right away. So, as you can see, I used my summons, and that was a mistake. I should have waited. And there are the meteors, and the only good thing about having your summons out when the meteors come is they'll hit some of the shadows, but if all your shadows die, they'll start coming towards you, so you have to be wary of that if that happens to you. So this time when he lands, he's targetable almost instantly, so try to stay at the safe zone that's close to him. So now there is a couple of firewalls, so if you do go into them, you will die, so be careful of them during this. Same thing for the rest of the fight, just keep your armor debuff as much as you can on him. And the only thing to be wary about in this phase is when he gets close to 20 bars of health, you're going to want to keep Mei Lin available. So I would say, for example here, I'm fighting him at around 35 bars of health. When my Mei Lin comes up again, I'm not going to use her. I'm going to save her for when he does his shield mechanic at a lower bar of health. Now, just a quick note about your ultimates. Try to use your ultimates when the boss has armor shred on, but don't hold it. So, like, if you miss an ult with, like, an armor shred early on in the fight, don't worry about it. But at this portion of the fight, you want to get, like, one last ult off at the end because it helps a lot with the damage after the shield is broken. So, ideally, if you can find a way to time your character to have an ult at the end, after this last phase, that is big recommendation for me because this is how I've killed the boss every time. So he'll jump to the middle at around 20 bars of health. He'll throw up that shield. You use Mei Lin, it breaks freaking instantly. And basically from here on out, this is just a race against the timer. So he's got 15 bars of health here, and I got 26 seconds. I have 14 seconds on my ult. So my whole goal here is to just charge this ult as fast as I can and make sure that I can keep an armor debuff on him. So now it's just 3, 2, 1, and I should have my ult here. And as soon as I ult, he should be dead out of this ult because he only has like 7 bars left. But that's pretty much it. And after this, you just collect all of your loot and you used up a whole ticket. And in case anyone is wondering, this is the easy mode version. If there is any huge differences in normal, I'll use that as a reference to see if there's anything different, and I'll annotate it. And I'll make a whole separate video for it if it is a big difference, but I think he'll just be a lot tankier and a lot stronger. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything of that sort, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and sub on the way out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.